All right. So, Michael, thank you for joining us today. Michael Schieffer has been doing real estate for maybe like what, a little over a year now?
Well, I bought my first rental in 2019, but that was
Okay.
just the conventional route. I have
Yeah.
I have a couple now, and then this flip going on. So
Yes. So, been working in real estate, and then he's also a loan officer with People's Bank and Trust. So, if anyone is looking for long-term financing for your rentals, talk to Michael. So, but he's got
I've been a
a
loan
wealth of
officer
knowledge
for
in
almost 9 years.
what?
I said I've been a loan officer for almost 9 years, so real
Yeah.
estate for quite a while.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear about your Winfield house. So I like how you got this one and how you did it. So
Yep. All right, sharing screen. One. I'm trying. Come on. It's not letting me. You got any tricks?
no, just click the button and then it should have another screen that pops up and you should be able to select the
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
Here we go. I got it.
Perfect.
Got it?
Yep. Oh, we
Okay.
have Rachel's screen. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, so I got Hammett Road in Winfield, Missouri. If you guys aren't familiar with that, that's north on either 79 or Highway 61 from Wentzville. This is kind of my cup of tea because I'm from Troy, Missouri, so this house is about 10 minutes from me. This is some befores on it. So big house, and quite frankly, something I'm not used to. It was built after the year 2000. So that was kind of nice to see, a house that really everything was nice on. The roof was done just 5 years ago. HVAC, plumbing systems, electric, everything was fine. So I really didn't need to do anything other than a minor cosmetic rehab. Ran into some issues along the way, but nothing huge. Here's some pictures of the interior. The guy was addicted to drugs. There at the end, it was kind of, the neighbors gave me some backstory. He was really, really nice. And the last few years is when all this started to go downhill. He started back in the house full of stuff, doing random projects. He was a painter by trade. So he would just paint random walls. And man, I don't know. You see what he did with the kitchen there. Just ugly. Tore the doors off. Another unfinished project. Just a lot of unfinished products. He started on the floor and didn't finish it, so I had to tear all that up because there's no way I'm going to match up that flooring. Yeah, all in all, though, pretty cut and dry as to what to do with this house. Yeah, like see there, basement's just packed full of stuff. Landscaping was a disaster. Yard was a disaster. If you go to Google Maps, you can see, I mean, the whole entire yard is just packed full of stuff. It looked like a junkyard. Yeah, how I got it, wholesaler. Another local guy in Troy. He called me up on a Friday morning and said, "Hey, I got this house on Hammett Road. You familiar with that road?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "I got another guy that's interested. Will you go out and check it out and let me know by the morning?" So really, I only had a couple hours to make my decision on this, and ran numbers real fast and thought it was a no-brainer. So went ahead with it. It started out with a three bed, 3.5 bath. All the bedrooms were on the upper floor. It did have a bathroom in the basement, and he tried to finish the basement, but it was, I would call it unfinished. It was pretty bad. More work to get it back to unfinished than what it should have been. So started with 1856 above grade. Ended up in the end, it's 2,600 total. So I added 800 square foot in the basement. Purchase price was 175,000. I think the wholesaler made $10,000 on me, which is fine. My initial budget, let's see here, was $50,000. And our original ARV, me and Brian Schroeder, we pegged it at 294. So some meat on the bone there. It was going to turn out pretty good. I thought I was really confident in this. This is the budget. You see at the bottom it says 45. I don't know what I took off there, but my original idea was that it was going to be 50,000. Looks like I didn't include my clean out fee, and I don't know what I did include on there, but in my head I thought it was 50,000. So, but yeah, pretty low budget for that big of a house, in my opinion. It could easily be 80 to 100 on something that size. Interesting parts of the journey. Yeah, like I said, previous owner was a drug addict and a hoarder. It was hard to get him out. I think I bought it on April 3rd. My project didn't actually start until early May because the guy was in there, out of there. He'd show up in the middle of the night at 12 a.m. The neighbors would call the cops on him. It was a whole thing. I don't know how many times I had run-ins with the Lincoln County sheriffs. But that was the whole thing. Finding a cat, there was supposedly a cat still in the house that I had never seen. I could see remnants of it everywhere, but there was a whole wall in the back that was kind of rotted through. So I guess the cat was going in and out of the house from there. I don't really know. I never found the cat. So I'm hoping and praying it's out of there. I had all the ductwork cleaned and I've been over the entire house. So there's nowhere this cat could be. Getting him out and keeping him out, same old thing. He was in and out of there for the next 30 days. Shower fiberglass. I replaced the master shower, and I actually had faulty products from Home Depot. Not Home Depot, Delta, or whoever's the maker of it. It warped and it kind of melted after we installed it, and we're almost ready to list it on the market. So we had to redo the shower. So that was a issue as well. Additional flooring and wall painting costs because of the smell and the guy using weird paints everywhere in the house. My flooring and my painting costs were higher than I would have expected because flooring, I rolled the entire floor with Kills because it was a terrible smell, and that helped a ton. But yeah, that was just another cost I didn't expect. And then the painting cost, I had quotes that were in the mid-teens. My highest quote for paint was 14,000. I had another one for 11,000, and finally had a guy doing on the side that ended up around 9,000. So, but the reasoning there is that the types of paints they were going to have to use to cover was it's going to cost a little bit more time and labor. But I included my text message to this guy. Hey, Will, and just letting you know today's the last day. I'm assuming you have everything out. If you have any further conversations, it needs to be done with myself or a sheriff, not the neighbors or anybody. But this is where he says, my cat Bobby's left in there. I haven't seen this cat, so I'm hoping Bobby's gone. Final product. Let's see here. Oh, I already had that open. So professional pictures do wonders. The landscaping. My bid for landscaping was like $8,000 because there was so much rock and stone and stuff that they were going to have to get out of there just to make it look decent. I did it myself, and it took me one day. I got stuff from Home Depot, and I just did a really simple bush and mulch landscaping, no border or anything. Made it look nice and clean. That cost me $900. Let's see here. How do I get the pictures? Yeah, turned out really good on the exterior. I had some siding stuff that I had to address, but that amounted to $1,800. I think you saw the back of the house was that's where it was rotted at the back, the bottom side of the house. That was all redone, and then I had some random holes that needed fixed. But other than that, the exterior was very minimal. I had the house staged, which is I have zero regrets on that. That was an amazing decision. Anybody that looked at it, just they could instantly see how the house was going to look with their stuff in it. Got rid of that flooring that was on the stairs, put carpet there instead. Went black on the fireplace, which I never would have guessed, but I went that route and it turned out awesome. I added a bunch of can lights on the main floor because any two-story this, in the 90s or early 2000s is super dark. Nice open floor plan there. That nook there with the second fireplace, I didn't touch the fireplace. I didn't know whether to paint the stone or not, so I just left it alone, and I don't think it hurt me too much on my sale. All new kitchen. That turned out really well. I also became an appliance dealer with a company called Altco, and I saved a ton of money on appliances. So now apparently I'm a dealer and I can get them super cheap. Yeah, kitchen turned out really good. That's the half bath on the main floor. I kept the sink, added an updated toilet. Didn't have to do hardly anything to that room except for floor and paint, obviously. Updated fixtures everywhere. Bathroom, I completely redid except for this is the master bathroom. Completely redid except for the tub. Let's see here. That's the shower in question. I originally put a fiberglass shower in there and it warped, and I don't know what the deal was. If we looked at the product that we used to glue it down, and it was the exact product that Delta said to use. So I don't know what could have gone wrong with it, but we tore it out, and I ended up having a tile guy there doing the floor. So I said, here, we're doing the shower tile. And we just made the decision on the fly and shifted gears because I wasn't going to mess with the fiberglass again in case it was something in my walls that was affecting the fiberglass. That turned out nice. The shower, the bathtub was was the same. We just cleaned it up, put a different fixture on it. Looks good. Master closet. Second bath upstairs. Just added vanity and toilet, and then all the fixtures, new floor. That's upstairs. This is the basement finish that we did. Nice, clean, simple. Added a bunch of can lights, lit up like the 4th of July. That's the bedroom I added in the basement. It was open. I think you see that open door there on the right. That was a big open space. It was an easy place to add a bedroom. So ended up being 4-bed, 3.5 bath. The bathroom in the basement was huge and weird. He did this himself. He added this, and I kind of left it alone. The makeup nook there, he did. I just added the vanity and the toilet, called it good. The floor, I didn't do anything to in the basement here. Well, I mean, in the bathroom, at least. The carpet I didn't do. Huge closet in the bathroom in the basement. Deck, I just used the paint stain. It wasn't perfect by any means, but that paint stain does a lot to make something look good. Yeah, so back of the house looks nice. He did a really good job of color matching the vinyl siding. If you look with a microscope, you can see the difference, but my eye test right there, you can't tell. Yeah, nice big house, I should say. It took some time. So April 3rd is when I acquired it, and I just got it. I was supposed to close yesterday, but my buyer is closing at 2 today. So I have not received the money on it. So still kind of a little nervous, but it's happening. let's see here. So that's the pictures. Anybody want to see anything else there, or should I go to the final product or to my end?
I just have a quick question about your
Yeah.
like faulty fiberglass shower.
Yeah.
How did you just have to eat that cost, or did Home Depot,
So I'm-
Depot or Delta cover anything?
It's not a Home Depot problem. I was talking to Delta. Shower cost me $730, and as of right now, I have that in my cost breakdown as a sunk cost. I'm trying to get Delta to do something on it because it is pretty obvious that there's something in the fiberglass that it was faulty. Because
Yeah.
the only thing that I can think of is that shower was touching an exterior wall, which there's showers everywhere that touches exterior walls. That shouldn't be the issue. I don't know if that product that I used to glue it just didn't work right with whatever heat was coming in through the wall, because that was the week it was like 103 degrees outside. So I don't know, but I have been in touch with Delta, and they said I should be receiving a phone call from somebody else, but as it sits right now, I'm just counting it in my cost. We tore it out with the Sawzall, so it's not like we're reusing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
but,
bummer. That's crazy. I haven't heard of that one before, but you just
Yeah.
never know.
Did anybody else want to see anything else?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
How did you get your basement bedroom to count toward your total bedroom count? Did you have to do egress or anything?
No, it's a walkout basement.
Oh, okay.
So,
Got it.
and that window more than suffices for a legal bedroom. And this isn't in a city by any means. I don't know if you're familiar with Lincoln County. There's no inspection. There's no real. There's a fire code that you have to follow, but that's literally it. There's nobody hovering over your shoulder whenever you're doing things.
That was going to be my other question. Was they didn't come after you for I guess for the previous owner for the junk in the yard? They didn't send up any red flags to the city or the county?
The HOA was the only one that was on me. They obviously wanted it cleaned up. They were happy to see it sold. So nobody in the area was really concerned about what I was doing, because everybody was just so happy to see it cleaned up.
That is a nice part about rehabbing in Lincoln County or Warren County. I feel like those more rural counties, minus Jeffco. Jeffco is like particular depending on what city you're in, but I feel like it's nice when, you didn't have to pull a single permit, worry about any inspections outside of the home buyer's inspection. Like there's something that's really nice about that when you're rehabbing in that part of town.
Yeah, that's clutch to not have to do that.
Much better than your Lula house where didn't they make you like rip off your roof and redo it because of an inspection?
Yeah, I ripped off my roof and redid it. That was a bad one. So the roof was almost twice what it should have been.
Also, did you completely get rid of the cat smell? Because I bought a cat house as well, and I feel like I never I can still get a hint of cat smell because it was awful. So I know you said you kills the floor. I did not do that, so maybe that was my mistake. But
I think I got it.
You got it all? Nice.
I think I got it. At first I thought maybe my nose was, just used to it. I'm involved, but she's got the best nose in Lincoln County. So I brought her over there and said, "Hey, how's this house smell?" And she couldn't smell it. So I think I got it. I had the ductwork cleaned. I killed the floors in the bad areas, and then the painter on the main floor, he used it wasn't kills, but he used a paint that was super, coating. So.
Hey, in your basement, it looked like you put carpet down there. Do you have any kind of insulation barrier other than the carpet straight on the concrete, or is there any other kind of barrier there?
There's just a really nice padding in the basement. Is all there was. It's got the padding has the moisture protector on the bottom side in case there was any, I don't know, moisture coming out of the concrete floor.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say.
it was a super dry floor, so I wasn't worried about the carpet.
Yeah, I was gonna
Especially on
say
that
concrete
hillside, the
tends
water rolls
to.
away from the house really good. Any other questions on the pictures? Here's my final rehab breakdown. Junk and removal clean out, $2,200. I had 9 dumpsters come out of that house. So the dumpsters alone, I think cost 15 to 16. And then I paid some kids to do some work on the side. Kitchen I came below, appliances. That ain't right. My appliances were only 1,400 on this. I don't know why I have 34 there. Flooring, yeah, that's a lot of square foot of floor, but I actually did the flooring pretty cheap, I thought. Trim and doors, there was a lot of trim to put down in that house, and we replaced a couple of the doors. Frame and drywall, that's all the basement, and I think I'll get into that in the next slide. But the guy was doing projects himself, and his drywall finish that he had started in the basement was so terrible. He wasn't joining the drywall together, and it took my taper and way more coats of tape, mud and tape than it should have taken. So I would have probably been better off just tearing down what he had done and go from there, because it took a lot of time to fix what he had done. Electrical, most of that's the cans. I also had the same electrician do all my light fixtures because I was lazy on this project. And I'll get to that too. Interior paint, yeah, that's the paint cost me $9,500. I'm super glad I didn't have to paint the house myself because there was a lot to it. Siding, that was to fix the rear of the house, and then the couple of holes. Landscaping got by super cheap, did myself. Home Depot bushes, and then the staging, $3,500. I was nervous about the staging, $3,500 for something that's not actually a cost to do the house, but man, that sold it. I'll do it again every time.
Who did you use for staging?
It was Dazzle.
Yeah.
Dazzle was who did it. I think they would have let me have it for 120 days, I think was the time span. Yeah, they came out, delivered it one day, and the 2 ladies came and, made it look pretty the next day. And then when I gave them my closing date, and they said they'd have it out of there a couple days before I closed. So pretty nice. So how'd it turn out? Final rehab, roughly 66,000. Holding costs, because I had a loan out there for 220. Dug into one of my credit cards pretty heavy with about 15,000. But my list price, I listed it at 340, and quite frankly, I did not have one comp for this house. I had no idea what I was going to list for. I always knew the 300 number was going to be solid, but there were ranch houses in the area that were selling for 300,000 that were only 1,300 square feet. So I said, this is 2,600 square feet. Even though some of that's basement and it's a 2-story, I get it. It needs to be higher than 300. So I put it at 340. I kept on creeping up. I was at like 325 before I listed. And then last second I listed it for 340. And I had one showing. Lady gave a contract. She actually wrote 360 with an escalation clause to 370. So she was desperate. She said she had looked at 3 other houses and had missed out on bidding wars on every single one of them. And it took me no time to sign that contract. Honestly, my biggest worry with signing the contract was the appraisal, because again, I looked all over for comps and I couldn't find them. There isn't a comp. Estimated profit on the actual rehab is 65, or sorry, my net there is 65,000, but I was the listing realtor, so I got an extra 11.5. So that's super nice as well, because that wasn't hardly any work. I just listed it, lined up all the pictures and got it staged. Lessons learned. Yeah, this is a big house, so the rehab's going to be a lot higher. My 1,000 square foot house that I did last time, flooring cost, everything was way cheaper. The 2,600 square foot house is not small. Like I said, paint was a big one. That's a lot of square footage of walls that just like everything else is going up, paint cost is going up too. Proximity to my house, my primary residence. This was 10 minutes away from my house, so it was perfect. I probably stopped by the project 3 or 4 times a week at least. Sometimes I'd go twice a day just because, I had time in my lunch break at work, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go see what he's doing. So super convenient. And that's definitely going to weigh on my decisions in the future, is how easy is it for me to see this house, because that was a big part in how the rehab went. Time is money. I love my free time. And what I mean by that is that this house, it took me 9 dumpsters to empty it out. I loaded the first dumpster myself, and I only got half of the garage clean. And after I loaded that dumpster, I said, I am not loading another dumpster. So I found 2 guys that were able to come out after their day jobs, and that was actually super cheap. And I didn't touch anything else in the house. I just kept on having the dumpsters lined up, and they finished it for me. So that's something I did differently on this house than the house before. The house before, I did a lot of work myself, and I ran myself ragged, and just to try to make the numbers work. I had the numbers working good on this house, and I was confident in it, and I was able just to step back. And this was the most leisurely rehab I can possibly imagine, because I was just kind of calling the shots. The only thing that I did in the entire rehab was paint the floor with Kills, and I did the landscaping. Other than that, I didn't. And I filled the first dumpster. Other than that, I didn't do anything. And that's how I want it. I enjoy doing the stuff, but currently with my full-time job, I don't have the time. So that was big for me, free time. And in the staging, that was huge. I was kind of on the fence with it, but it definitely sold that house. It looked really good. I think that's it. So does anybody have any questions with that?
You did an awesome job. I'm curious, did you have any issues with the appraisal at all? Did anything come up when they had that?
I guess no news is good news. I didn't hear anything about it. I
Good.
kept on waiting. The appraisal deadline passed, and I texted the other realtor, and he said, yeah, all good. So I don't know what it appraised for. Kind of shocked, but because I was already, as soon as I signed the contract, I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm just going to accept whatever the appraisal comes back at.
Yeah.
It's profit. I was wanting the total thing, but if it appraised for 330, I was going to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy too. You had one showing, one offer, and sold it 20 grand over ask, and what was kind of like a little bit of stretch ask too.
Yeah, I talked to Shelly Sanders. I was like, what's your opinion? Can you find any comps for this? And she said, I can't really find comps, but probably like 325, 330 range is where you need to be. And then last minute, I texted her and I said, I'm going 340, and went over.
That's amazing. But I also think it speaks to the product you put out. And I do think like you put out what looks like a new construction home. It shows like a new construction home. It feels like a new construction home. And if you're looking at new construction comps, like builders can't build that quality for, what you put it out at. So I think that helps you a lot there.
Yeah, there's not a lot. I mean, just like everywhere, there's no inventory in Lincoln County.
Yeah.
There's none. The only houses that are available to buy is what CMS Homes and Meyer Select Homes are building. That's it. That's the reality of it. And anything that's not new construction, like you said, is pretty poor. It's, dated 20, 30 years. they want full price for.
Yeah.
Did you have any inspection issues that you had to deal with?
The deck had carpenter bee infestation, but I didn't do anything with it. The buyer took care of it. I consider myself very lucky on this house. The buyer was desperate and wanted to get in it, and that drove the whole thing. Because she took care of the carpenter bee remediation.
So she paid 20 grand over ask and took care of the inspection items. That is a freaking awesome buyer.
Yeah. I actually, she called me. She called me to show her the house. So I had the potential to be both sides of the deal.
Yep.
But then like up front, I told her, I said, look, I'm the listing agent and I'm also the owner. I said, I understand if you want to get some other representation, but I'll represent you if you want, or I'll be the transaction broker for you, or agent. And she said, yeah, I might have my friend who's ASP, whatever. That was fine. But I didn't tell her I had any other offers. I didn't say I had other interests. I just kept my mouth shut. And she just thought that there was 20 other people lined up to get it, I guess. I hadn't talked to anybody else yet.
Sometimes it's good. You never know what stories people build up in their heads, and works
Yeah.
out well for you when they do.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to be lucky.
Yeah. And I love too that you were the agent, and I like how you separated out your agent commission from your
Yeah, I
flip.
don't. That's going forward. That's always it's always in the back of my head. I'm not going to calculate that in my profit, because reality, I deal with a lot of tax returns too. I realize that my agent income is different from a capital gains income, so I'm always going to charge myself that. It's good to do and just forget about it. That's a completely different source of income for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that people don't think about, because a lot of times I'll watch them calculate it in their net profit number, but you're right, totally different businesses, different tax, ramifications.
It's icing on the cake.
Yeah, nice bonus. And then too, like, well, if I didn't really want to list it, you can weigh the pros and cons too effectively of like, do I want to pay someone else to do it? And it's not hurting your flip line.
I actually, you're familiar probably. I bought that house in the floodplains, Kenwood, Northwoods, but faster funds couldn't lend on. I actually just listed it and didn't even rehab it at all. And in my head, I was thinking, okay, even if I break even on this, I'm going to get my realtor income from it. But I made $5,000 on it.
Woohoo! And you made commission on it too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it ended up being like $6,500. I didn't touch it. I've driven to the house one time.
That's not a bad day. $5 grand plus another 1,500 in agent fees. I call that a win.
Yep, that one hasn't closed yet either. So,
well, fingers crossed.
We'll see.
Cool. Well, what other questions do people have?
Do you see the Ellsbury area, which is just a little bit farther north of Winfield, being about the same market as Winfield, or do you think it changes going up that much farther north?
I wouldn't say the distance is the problem. Being in the area, Winfield's a better school than Ellsbury, so sometimes that's having I can see that's a little different. I know Faster Deals had a house on their website recently. It was a large house in the Foley address, and that's an Ellsbury school district. It was right on the line. And quite frankly, I think that being right on the line would probably be the difference of, I don't know, it might be 25,000, because it's just not as good. It's not as good of a school district.
What are the school districts there?
Winfield and Ellsbury, both of those are on 79, and then Troy. This is a Winfield. I didn't mention that. This house that I flipped was a Winfield address, but it was a Troy Buchanan. It was a Troy school district, and that was big for me too, because Troy is obviously the best school district in Lincoln County.
Yeah,
maybe not by ratings, but what it has to offer, it is.
And I feel like it's grown a lot over the years.
Yeah. We have tons of mobile homes like sitting outside our schools.
And it's been like that for decades. Like,
Yes, when I was in high school, we had mobile homes outside of high school. Then they built a second school
yep.
to take care of the ninth graders. But now there's mobile homes outside the ninth grade center. It's insane,
Yeah,
the amount of growth in Lincoln County. And you just, I want to buy up Lincoln County, but you just can't because everybody wants to. So
I'm curious
kind
on
of
the
like
call.
St. Charles,
Yeah.
like St. Charles County with, the rentals don't really work there right now because the values are so high. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, Rachel and I have a house we're buying for a rental, and to make it cash flow, I think we have to leave like 50 or 60 grand in it. But then you have a nice new rental in St. Charles, so like you have to weigh your pros and cons of it. So
I would do that. I would do
You
that
would
for
do it?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else buys in Lincoln County on this call? I know we have several borrowers to do, but I'm not seeing any of them on here.
I do. My name's
You do?
Larry.
Yeah. Larry, where do you live at? Do you live in Lincoln County, which is why you want to buy out there?
Yeah, I live in Troy. Well, my address is in Troy, but I'm just outside of city limits in Troy. So,
Yeah.
Like you was saying, the Lincoln County building codes are pretty flexible. So I've been very interested in looking at a couple of them out there that I'm probably trying to turn into duplexes, that kind of thing on those larger homes.
Nice. Yeah, Tyler buys out there too. And I know Rebecca Bauer. Well, if anyone's going to be at our club on Thursday, tomorrow, I'm speaking with John Morgan and Rebecca Bauer. And anyways, Rebecca Bauer, she focuses on Warren, Lincoln, and then she actually goes all the way out to Columbia. But anyways, she has so many deals right now that I think she might she always has kept them herself, but I think she might actually sell a few, which is like new for her. But anyways, if you come to the club tomorrow, she'll be there and be talking about stuff like that. So might be a good person to connect with.
Yeah, I'm planning on being there for the Buyers Club and coming up early for the walkthrough with Dusty. So that's what my plans are for tomorrow. Definitely, I mean, even if she has a wholesaler or two she wants to, pass on some numbers to, I'd be greatly appreciative.
Well, she'll be a good person to connect with, and anyone else who's interested in those areas. And Travis is looking for some land. Travis, are you going to buy our tiny house?
I'm trying. I've been looking all over. I think I finally figured out Lincoln is the only place that's gonna let me put it there. But it has to be outside the city limits of Troy. So if anyone knows of any land that's being sold outside of the city limits, let me know.
What's your plan?
Airbnb.
Is that a middle? Really?
Yeah.
Airbnb. Really?
Yeah, give it a go with the tiny home.
Wow. How is a tiny home taxed? Is it considered personal property?
I would
Like
assume
from
so.
the-
Like an RV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be personal property for sure.
Fascinating. You could just come on over to Illinois, and we don't have personal property tax over there. So I don't know how they tax the tiny home over there, but yeah, that is interesting. Cool. Well, who else has anything? Questions for Michael, or just questions for the group in general? Anyone else sell anything lately or buy anything recently? Nick, how's your listing? Oh, what were we saying, Michael?
I've been looking at a lot of houses. It's hard. I'm trying to buy right now.
Yeah, hard issues buying, like making numbers work, what people are asking.
Numbers. Yep. Like I said, like in Lincoln County, especially, they see the comps as the new houses, and then they're like, "Well, I have a house," and they'll try to list it for what the new house, even though it needs $50,000 worth of work. So
yeah,
it's simply, do you have a house to sell or do you not? And that's the only difference in the price. everybody wants the, top price.
Yeah, top dollar for kind of a turd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. And they're getting it.
some of
They're
them,
getting it.
some of them are falling apart
Yeah.
because they come to us and we're like, no,
Oh,
numbers
really?
don't. Nick, how are your houses going? Do you have two listed right now, or one, your St. Charles house listed and the other one coming soon? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I got one listed right now. The Oak Terrace one out in St. Peter's, unincorporated St. Charles. That the listing has been a process. It did not go well. Lack of experience with that price point on my end, leaning on the experience of others a little too hard. Not going well, but we truck on, and I have two others that are just wrapping up in markets that I'm much more familiar with, that I'm going to make sure just launch a lot better. So Oak Terrace, it's a beautiful house. It's gonna sell. Not quite sure at what price point anymore, but it's gonna sell. So
Nick, was it finishes or what issues have you run into? What do you mean?
well, the listing didn't go well. So
Like your agent.
yeah, yeah, and I didn't want to say that, and I'm trying not to say that.
I worried about that for you.
I'm trying not to, but I do my part well, and I lean on the experience of others to do their part well, and it just lack of experience on my end with that price point. That's all I can say. I leaned on her for listing price. I was a little high on my expectation, but I leaned on her for where we would narrow it down. I said 350 to 4, and we ended up supposed to list at 399 by advice, which I felt like was a little high to be high. But whatever, the market's doing weird things, and I just kind of let it go, because again, that's not my experience out there. But then when the listing came out, for the first 18 hours, it was listed at 349, which
That's
is
what I thought I
yeah,
saw.
which is 50,000 less than we originally, when then she told me. And then the original listing for the first 18 hours had 4 pictures duplicated 25 times. So did not even show entire areas of the home that were done. So it was a rushed, shoddy listing that was listed probably more near where it should have been. But then after I brought all this to her attention, after 18 hours, we shot the price up $50,000. So now people see that. And I've been being advised that that's not the biggest of deals, but I don't agree with that. I feel like people look at those listings and who's listing those houses, and now I just look like some greedy home seller that's trying to capitalize and steal money from people. And that, I feel, is going to affect the quality of people that view my home, the quality of the listing. And it looked like it was just haphazardly thrown together, and I'm trying to get a fucking $500,000. It's just, it did not go well. And it was, again, my lack of experience with the price point. I did what I do well. I did the house well. I did the curb appeal well. I picked the location well. I did what I do well. I was lacking some experience there. So the fence, it's another thing. The fence is something I kind of normally ignore. The fence line in Florissant, fence line, and people ignore that shit. Out here, I'm getting a lot of comments about like, would you pay 400,000 for this fence? You know what I mean? And it's, the more I gauge my feedback from the market, the more I start to think, well, yeah, no, at that price point, I don't want to buy a $10,000 fence after I paid 400,000 for a house, especially when it's a stretch. It's not an easy 400,000. It's a stretch. It is what it is. It's probably a good 350 home that with the way I do things, probably could have tried to stretch to 370, which is where I'm closer to where I'm at now. But it just went horrible. Just went so bad. So I got 2 wrapping up now that are about to hit the market at the same time, though. I'm working things. Every house I do now, I'm doing 3 times faster than the one before because I started general contracting and I'm bringing in some new people. So things are still ever changing. So I have high hopes, but I'm ready to just get the hell out of that Oak Terrace one and be done with it. I learned a lot about the higher price listings.
I do
So
think,
you weren't able,
oh, go ahead,
I'm
Larry.
sorry there.
Go ahead.
You didn't get a chance to go over the listing before she put it live on the MLS.
So
Where
my agent's done 3 or 4 for me already, and she's she's a family member actually. And again, I do what I do well, and in my business, I deal with people that I feel like I can trust, and I'm very transparent. I'm not letting these people think that I want control or say, I say, hey, I'm leaning on you to do this part. So where maybe in hindsight that would have been smart to get a copy of the listing to review before it went live. It just wasn't a step that I had felt necessary up to this time dealing with her. She's gotten me nothing but some of my biggest wins on my home sales thus far, so it was just in price points that I have much more experience in, and the product I was able to capitalize on what the market is looking for in those price points in those areas, and it's just kind of a gray area for me out there right now.
Nick, I think it brings up a good point that I feel like everyone should like hear. And I think it's, you might have a great agent for a particular spot in town, but you need to make sure you have the right agent for the right part of town that you're selling in. And not all agents are as well versed everywhere. And I also think, finding an agent who will walk through a house with you at the very end, just to almost give you like a secondary punch list, like, hey, make sure before we go live, you do X, Y, and Z. Ask them, like, do you recommend staging for this price point? Do you not? And I can tell you, I have never, ever, ever reviewed a listing before it's gone active. So I don't feel like that's, an issue. Like, I just trust the agents that I work with.
The more I saw the problems happen here, the more I realized that with our previous listings, I did have a lot of input. I did have a lot of control because I kind of, again, it's my bread and butter kind of areas for all these other ones. And then with this one, I leaned so hard onto her and advice, and I was giving my opinion, but I wasn't really being as conscious or aware that I should have been, that my opinions were just kind of being blindly followed instead of being checked. And that's what I need. I need somebody that's going to kind of check my balance, bring me back to reality with your experience, and learning lessons, all of it.
Well, your listing pictures look good.
Yeah, the
Thank
house
you.
is
The house
amazing,
came out.
Nick.
Yeah, thank you. The house came out great. So proud of the house, even the landscaping, that weird front porch we were able to bring all together. Yeah, super proud of the house. Somebody's gonna buy it. Somebody's gonna love it. I have no fear of that whatsoever. I just now know that at that price point, a little bit more preparation into the listing is gonna benefit me greatly. And then staging. As a matter of fact, I have a question. And I heard you say, Michael, that staging sells. I never was the guy. I don't know if I'm jaded because I build the house. So I want the house. I want to represent my product, right? Not the furniture.
It definitely depends on the house, I think.
Right. Because to me, in my mind, staging is to either one, kind of cover some things you didn't address, or two, show spatially how the house can be functional if it's kind of hard to determine spatially.
It's a weird house.
Yeah, weird design, right? So those are the times I use
That
staging.
Hammett Roadhouse, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how to put furniture in it. That's why
split level,
the
same
staging
thing.
helped me.
It's hard to figure out how to put furniture, so I do those. But at $400,000, is staging important? Should I have this house staged? Because she said, do I want it staged? And she said it, like 4 days into the listing and the chaos. And I'm kind of like, why the fuck are we gonna stage it now? It's fucked like that. Like, what is the point? The pictures are done, the open house is done, the listing is done. So I just want to throw $3,000 in furniture in there now for what? I was kind of upset already, if you couldn't tell. But now that I
Nick, do
have a
you,
group of level-headed people here, is staging.
I think I need to hang out with Nick more.
Nick, do you mind while we're having this conversation if I share my screen and show the pictures of the house?
Please.
Just so people can see like what I'm looking at. So this is the house. And Nick, personally, and it's hard to tell from pictures, but you've got this nice open stairwell, but this is your living room, right?
Yep, that's the front entry when you first walk in.
That to me instantly makes the house weird, and I would have staged it just because of that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Because I'm a homeowner, I'm thinking, where the heck do I put my couch? Am I gonna really put my couch back here and have my like toddler toss themselves down the
Because that
stairs?
where that banister was a full wall. There was no opening on the far left side where that garage door is. That
Yeah.
was completely enclosed. The only opening was through to the hallway there. So I completely removed that entire wall section and opened it up, which did take a lot of functional space away from the living room. I do agree, wall space.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about a family is probably gonna be the one that buys this house.
Mhm.
And they're gonna be terrified that their kid's gonna jump off the couch and down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's like, as a parent, that's the first thing I think of. So staging it to show there's options without that, I think would have been helpful. I do like that you did different stuff though. I mean, you did a darker granite, like you don't normally see that. Like you did some different finishes to make the product stick out a little bit.
I think Nick also, for me at least, when I think about staging, I think staging can help accentuate everything that you did. So instead of thinking about it as hiding stuff, which it can do, right? Like it can hide some of the flaws, but really it just helps bring your product together and really how your vision came to life, especially in the higher price point. We don't always stage all of our houses, but I usually do at least a light staging to at least make it feel homey and give those touches.
But if I'm trying to stretch price point like Michael's house did all day long, I'm gonna pay for staging.
Is there a reason you didn't include a fridge?
So I never include refrigerators. So my
Not on
point,
sale.
I always feel like if a person's coming into a house at 200 plus thousand, 250, 400,000, that's most likely not like a first time home buyer normally, and they're going to have a refrigerator, especially at this price point. So I just saved $1,000 and put it in my pocket, and I've never had anybody question it. Crazier thing is I never put in shower doors on shower pans ever, and every time expected somebody to be like, how in the hell am I supposed to take a shower here? And nobody says anything. So I just shower doors and refrigerators are two things I just leave out.
You don't have showers in this one though, do you? This is the price point I would put shower doors in. If you do another one of this price point. I
think it does have a pan if you go to the master.
I also like this thing, but I'm also thinking staging would go well in there because I'm thinking like this is a mud drop-off center. Like, what else am I supposed to put in this room?
Right. It's basically like the dining room now.
Yeah, but I'm like looking at it and I'm thinking for me it feels like a mud room. I'm coming in off the garage. You have these nice cabinets and stuff. I'm not thinking about putting a table there.
Okay.
Like that's just how I like naturally think.
Yeah,
What was your rehab budget on this project?
I probably did this for like 50, maybe 55.
The house looks gorgeous though.
Thank you. So you think shower door and staging, huh?
I don't know if I would have done a shower door personally, but I could see you putting one up there to make it look nice.
Yeah.
I would have done a shower door in this particular house.
I think maybe at that price point, the bells and whistles would be nice. I can kind of see that. So I feel like it covers my work sometimes.
I think
Especially-
I think it helps show it off more though. Like it helps show off your total vision. You know, you have a vision of how a family's gonna live in this house.
Yeah.
To me, staging, I would change your mindset around it, and to me, staging helps that vision come to life.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate all that input. I think I'm going to, I know I was planning on going out there to look at that fence to see if I can come up with any solution for that, but I think I may make a call and because I can get like St. Charles Glass to come throw a door in there and I can get the staging lady to come kind of throw some things in there.
Have you gotten any feedback about staging or shower door?
No, I got feedback about that fence. I got feedback about the fence, and there was majority of neighbors there during the open house. There's like 15 neighbors there. There's 5 buyers agents. So I got feedback about the fence, price point being a little high. But you know, other than that, people love the house. It's just a couple little details. Haven't heard anything specifically about the shower door though.
Agents who are on here, I know Kevin and Michael, I don't know if anyone else is an agent on here, but would you all go back and do anything, or would you just kind of call the listing as it is and just take the lessons learned on to the next one?
It's not my profession.
I get it. I'm an agent too, and it's not my profession either.
I totally agree with the price point is a huge argument, and you know, you wouldn't do the same thing on one house as you do on another one. That one I'd probably go a little further, but it looks awesome. I don't think a shower door is stopping anybody from buying that. It just I think it probably just comes down to price. The fence might be the thing, but still, like,
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't put a new
tight,
fence in.
fix the fence.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
go
if
with
I
the
go back in too
repair.
much, but. Well, hopefully the right buyer comes along soon and that thing is sold and you move on and your other houses go great.
Yeah, 2 more coming to market real soon. I'm in the process of 2 more. I got 2 sitting, and I'm looking to buy some more. So.
Well, we are over time, so I'm gonna wrap us up, but thank you all for joining. I hope to see you all at Buyers Club tomorrow. Should be fun and entertaining. So anyways, have a great rest of your day.
See ya.